Manipulative people have weaponized the emotions of fear, shame, and disgust to control others to their hidden agenda. Often you'll find this manipulative person living rent-free in your head, and they've replaced your inner critic and inner saboteur. They'll plant seeds and make suggestive comments, making you think you said or did something or agreed to something that you didn't do. The people who are most easily manipulated by these narcissists typically have a very strong inner critic. So the key to reducing their influence, if not altogether entirely, is to reduce the power of the inner critic and inner saboteur over us. We have to get angry at our inner critic. And since that person, if that person is living rent-free in your head already, you can use, for instance, a conscious rant technique, which is imagining that this person is this pillow, and you just get really angry at them. Stop manipulating me! And just shout and scream into the pillow and get all that anger out. And this inner critic could be the voice of your parents, your guardians, your teachers, society, culture, government. And after you do this exercise, right hand on heart, left hand on gut, and just letting all that energy flow back into your heart. What this will eventually result in is you'll find that you'll be non-reactive and untriggered by these people's manipulative ways. It's kind of like a bully who wants to trigger a response and they're just not getting a response, so they give up and move on to someone else. A more advanced method of what I call emotional kung fu defense is just to call it out. So, hey, stop weaponizing fear, shame, and disgust at me in this way, and you can list out the ways. I see through your manipulative behaviors, and I don't consent to your agenda. And we'll all get to that phase because we need to take time to reflect on how our inner critic is being manipulated. And with that reflection comes processing this trauma in a way that we can move forwards and heal. Some of you might be wondering the mechanics of how one uses fear, shame, and disgust to manipulate. We all, in our reactiveness to emotions, have particular responses to the emotions of fear, shame, and disgust. Let's take fear, for example. Fear, a typical response to fear, reactivity to fear, is on the one hand, either to chase greed or to avoid lack. And that could be greed of anything, of money, of food, of property, and to avoid lack of this exactly the same thing: lack of money, lack of food, lack of property, lack of ownership of things. Shame. Our reactivity to shame is often to chase pride and to avoid pity. And so chasing pride means to have some kind of status, to be seen in some kind of, some might call it face or societal position. And pity is, which is the flip side, it's to avoid being in the lower rungs of other people's respect. The mechanics of disgust, our reactivity to disgust, is to chase righteousness and avoid unrighteousness. So aspects such as chasing integrity, authenticity, to be true to oneself, all these virtues that we, quote unquote, aspire to be and to not aspire to be. And so people who are very manipulative target the emotions and thus generate a particular response that they're looking for. The people who are most at risk of being scammed, in my opinion, are the people with the strongest inner critic and inner saboteur. And the inner critic is that voice in your head that berates you, that shames you, that makes you feel no good, that makes you feel unworthy, insecure. And so the inner critic is very disempowering. And often these individuals who have very strong inner critics will want to give their power away to someone else. So please control me because I'm no good, I'm unworthy, I'm insecure. You know better than me. So someone comes in and they take that role that that person was looking for. Now, we could say, oh, this is really bad. But at some level, in my opinion, this is the universal lesson that's trying to show someone. The lesser seen lesson here is that we could see it as a gift, that this person is here to help us work through our inner critic, work through our insecurities, work through our disempowered state to become a very empowered being. We need the right exercises to get there. And I believe that one of the most effective tools in getting us to an empowered state is the pillow work, is the conscious rant, is taking all of the voices of the inner critic and screaming and shouting at it, saying, I do not consent to your shaming, your projected insecurities, and bring that energy back to the heart. And the more we do that, we find that the inner critic becomes quieter and quieter and quieter and quieter to a point that it's so quiet we don't even notice that it's there. That is the spiritual journey. That's the journey of spiritual growth, in my opinion.